Louis Pasteur, the father of microbiology, once said, "Little science takes you away from God, but more of it takes you to Him." Hi, my name is Dhruva. I am pursuing Bachelor's in Technology from IIT Delhi, and in this video, I am going to discuss, can science replace spirituality? Firstly, let us try to understand why anyone would think that science should replace spirituality. The general thought process is that science contradicts spirituality, and the ultimate reality of this world is or will be discovered only by science, which contradicts spirituality and in turn replace it. But what if I tell you that prominent scientists who have great contribution in this vast subject of science have deep spiritual convictions which drives them onwards in this field? Science and spirituality are not only meant to coexist but collaborate in a coherent and harmonious manner. Let us see some reasons why is it so. The first reason is science and spirituality are out to meet in defining the nature of reality. Let us see what Werner Heisenberg said. Quantum theory will not look ridiculous to people who have read Vedanta. Heisenberg is a very renowned scientist and a Nobel laureate. He had worked with the extremely complex world of quantum physics, which developed only recently in the modern science. What made Heisenberg to talk about Vedanta? What is there in the Vedanta? To give you an idea, Vedanta is the topmost scientific and philosophical treatise of the spiritual and cultural heritage of India. The word Vedanta refers to the end of knowledge or the ultimate knowledge of truth. Vedanta refers to all the Vedic literatures which describe the conclusion of Vedas, specifically the Vedanta Sutra, the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Upanishads, etc. In Vedanta, there is never a conflict between science and spirituality. This is unique in Indian thought. This is because of the fact that science mainly studies the material nature, whereas Vedanta studies both the material nature as well as the spiritual nature. This introduction to Indian thought brought Heisenberg great comfort. He began to see that the recognition of relativity, interconnectedness, and impermanence as the fundamental aspects of physical reality, which had been so difficult for himself and his fellow physicists, was the very basis of the Indian spiritual traditions. Heisenberg also said about Vedic scriptures that some of the ideas that had seemed so crazy suddenly made much more sense. That was a great help for me. So, science and spirituality meet and should meet at the same place because their quest is simple and fundamental. The second reason why science can't replace spirituality is that science based on the philosophy of materialism has limitations. You do not need to believe in God in order to see that science does not tell us everything there is to know about the world. As philosopher Bertrand Russell, a Nobel laureate, who was no friend of religion, emphasized in a number of places, the very methods of physics guarantee that it will relatively tell us little about the nature of the material world. The reason is that physics confines itself to describing the mathematical structure of the world, since what can be so captured is susceptible to strict prediction and control. The inner nature of reality that has that structure necessarily falls through physics' methodological net. Bertrand Russell says, and I quote, "Science cannot answer the question why there is any world at all or any laws at all. To answer these questions, you have to take an intellectual vantage point from outside the world and its laws, and thus outside of science." So, science based on the philosophy of materialism has its limitations. It is important to understand that science, to a certain degree, can help explain how things work, what they are, and yet it doesn't always give the complete picture, since certain ranges go beyond the realm of science. We are human because we do not follow mechanical laws. We have a mind and consciousness which go beyond the boundary of scientific inquiry and research. So, we discussed two reasons why science cannot replace spirituality. The first reason is science and spirituality are out to meet in defining the nature of reality. The second reason is science based on the philosophy of materialism has limitations. Join our initiative Science, Spirituality and Atheism to get such content regularly. Link is in the description. Thank you.